him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack 'em, it's time for the only news that matters. And Pete Townshend stated that The Who won't be releasing any albums in the future. In an interview with NME, Townshend was asked if fans could expect a follow-up to 2019's Who album. The musician noted that he would easily be able to write a new album, but that another important member probably wouldn't want to do it. He said, "I don't think there will be a new album. If there was a need or a place for a Who album, could I write the songs for it within 6 weeks? Of course. I fucking could. It's a piece of cake. The problem is, I don't think Roger Daltrey wants to do it again. For me, it would be a joy because I love writing songs, and I love writing to a brief, and I love having a communication. I love having a deadline, and I love the feedback." Townshend continues expressing his gratefulness for the positive reaction to the last Who album. He said, "I was pleased by the critical response of the last Who album, and it was so positive. I wasn't expecting that, and I was grateful for it, and it inspired and was inspired by it. So where I am at the moment is I'm thinking, well, I might write a song and then say to Roger, either you sing it or I'm going to put it out as a solo album. And Who fans will love me for that." All right. Me as a Who fan, he is correct. I would love him for that. Because Pete Townshend to me is a musical genius, and I love the 2019 Who album. If that's the way this band ends, good. Fine. I'm fine with it because I thought that was a damn good album. It was strong and it was awesome. So, if Roger doesn't want to do it anymore, then Pete, go out there and write the next Who album. Hasn't released a solo album. You sing all the tunes and call 1993's Psychodelic, which I love that album. And I discovered that album decades later thanks to my friend Charlie Hill, who got me that album on vinyl, and I thought it was fucking phenomenal. Because honestly, after All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes, which I love, White City wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as Empty Glass or All the Best Cowboys, which All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes is my favorite. And I want to thank the awesome Dennis Ernie Jr. that donated for me to do All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes in a track by track, and he made me go back to listening to it, and I've been listening to it ever since, because I discovered that album like 2 years ago because of Martin Popoff did an episode about it where he had this really interesting guy on his show, and they were both talking about that album, and I didn't know the album. I only knew Face Dances. That's the only song I knew from it. So hearing how they were glowing about this Pete Townshend album, I was like, damn, man, I don't know this album. Let me go check it out, like the whole thing. And oh my God, do I love that album. And when I discovered it like 2 years ago, I'm telling you, I went about a year of listening to it all the time. And then I just stopped. And I haven't heard in about a year. And then Dennis Ernie Jr. asked for that donation, and I went back to just listening to that album. And to this day, I'm still listening to it a lot. It's a phenomenal album that I can't get enough of, you know? I didn't like White City as much, or The Iron Man I thought was really bad. So I stopped, you know, I didn't, when Psychodelic came out, I don't remember it coming out in 93, but I'm sure if I did see it or something, I was like, But now I think it's a great album, a great return to Pete Townshend, even though it didn't do shit. It didn't chart or anything, you know. But I love that album, man. So he hasn't released anything since, except under, you know, the name The Who, with Endless Wire and the Who album. That album is so good. Endless Wire had its moments. It wasn't horrible. It was definitely better than the Iron Man in White City, if you ask me. But, you know, The Who is one of those bands that's been around forever, but they don't have the biggest discography, which is odd. You know, their discography is not that big. And I think their whole discography is pretty damn good. They're one of those bands that, you know, there are many albums better than others, but, you know, there's some albums that are way better than others, in my opinion. Like, man, Who's Next and Quadrophenia. I mean, the albums that came, that I like, you know, third place and fourth, are kind of low compared to those two albums. And I think those two albums were just complete masterpieces. But I loved Face Dances. You know, when Keith Moon was gone, they brought in Kenny. And I love those albums. It's Hard and Face Dances, I thought was great. But, you know, Pete Townshend now looks back on those albums like, I don't think Kenny was the right drummer and this and that. I thought those were great fun albums. But yeah, I like the Who stuff more. You know, Who by Numbers is pretty underrated if you ask me. Love Who Are You and Sings My Generation. Tommy is a great album, man. I love a lot of that stuff. I'm a big Who fan. I love the Who, you know, but I also love Pete Townshend. You know, a lot of his solo albums are great. Empty Glass is awesome. All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes is my favorite. And Psychodelic was great, man. So, you know, he wrote, like, you know, Endless Wire and that album, The Who, after it, and they're both awesome. I love them, especially The Who, the last Who album. I absolutely loved it. And I know Roger Daltrey saying is like, man, I busted my ass. We spent a lot of money making that last Who album, and it didn't sell. And that's what's keeping them from wanting to do it, which is a drag. I understand it is a drag, but at the same time, you know, as much as I love Roger Daltrey, and don't get it twisted, let's cut the deck. I think Roger Daltrey has one of the greatest rock voices in the history of rock. You know? I just happen to like Pete Townshend's voice a little more. There's a little more, it's a little softer and there's a lot of melody to it. I can't say I like it more than Daltrey's, but man, they're kind of even to me. So if Pete Townshend was to write an album that he would have done for The Who and ended up singing himself, I'm sure I would love it. And this just came to my mind. Man, there's a Roger Daltrey song that was on the McVicker soundtrack. And the song is called Free Me. Wow, do I love that song. Amazing song. Roger sounds amazing on it. You know, it's early 80s. I believe this is pre-MTV, yet they made a video for it. And you know those videos they made before MTV and even early MTV. I love that organic, prehistoric nature of music videos. And boy, Free Me had it. Had little scenes where, you know, Roger Daltrey's in like a padded room and a guy's walking around. And it's freaky. It's a freaky video. It's awesome. And the song is even more awesome. So I love Roger Daltrey too. And hey, make a fucking solo album with a bunch of freemies on it, and I'm getting it for sure. Same with Pete Townshend, man. Release some solo stuff. Look, I love the last two Who albums. Shit, I love the last four Who albums. But come on, there's no Entwistle, there's no Moon. It's kind of like, all right already. If you want to stop making albums after you made that amazing album 2019 called The Who, forget it. End it like that, because that was a great, great album that'd be cool. I mean, for me, because a lot of people out there didn't buy it, didn't care. But me, I loved it, and I love that they're ending their career with that studio album, thanks to Roger Daltrey. So what do you all think? Leave it in the comments below. If you're a Who fan, are you disappointed? Are you cool with it? Would you like a Pete Townshend solo album like I do that's as good as All Good Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes or Glass Houses? I would love albums like that. Bring it, bring it. To me, Pete Townshend is a freaking musical genius. That's how I feel. So how do you feel? Please leave it in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching the only news that matters. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and ring that little notification bell. In case you are subscribed to my channel, please check to see if you're still subscribed, because people are getting unsubscribed for no reason, and that blows. So thank you again for watching, and please like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. And stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston, and so never more shall we see you again.